Hey, Ecom Masters, welcome to the show. My name is Mike Weiss, Chief Community Officer at Dropified, and as a thank you for tuning in to the e-commerce mastery show, we've put together a special podcast-only e-commerce training just for you. Now, in it, you're going to learn the ins and outs of how to set up your own brand of products where you can literally put your own labels, brands, logos, and messaging over top of top selling, in demand, high quality, high profit products that are exclusive to supplements, CBD, skincare, and pet products. And here's the key: no minimum order quantities, no upfront inventory costs. And I'm going to show you how to do this in literally minutes. Now, guys, we refined these principles over the course of 5 years with working with over 100,000 of our own e-compreneur customers just like you. So to get immediate 100% free access, all you got to do is go to dropify.com/podcast-special, or you can just click the link below and you're going to learn exactly how we do this in just minutes. Thank you so much for being part of the Dropified family and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of E-Commerce Mastery. I'm your host, Ben Gothard, and today we have the honor of speaking with the one, the only, the man who is driving over $25 million in sales per month and is an expert in revenue optimization strategies, a partner of Build, Grow, Scale, the man, the legend, Matthew Stafford. How you doing today, man?
Good. Glad to be here.
Dude, I'm so glad you're here. Like, all of your no BS marketing strategies and insights and knowledge has profoundly influenced the world of digital marketing. And I'm so excited to be able to peek inside of your brain for just a few, the short time that we have here today. But I'm so
Yeah, should be fun. Yeah.
yeah. So I'd love to start off by hearing your story.
Okay. Well, I've always been in love with being an entrepreneur. So I actually started my very first business when I graduated high school. Um, it was a brick and mortar business. I've done that. I did that for about 20 so years, 23 years. And then I went to a Tony Robbins event and bought a DVD set called Money Masters. It's all about online businesses. And up until that point, I used my computer for email and to read blueprints and stuff like that because I had a commercial concrete business. And when I saw that, I saw Frank Kern talking about selling information products. I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. I never thought about using the computer to do that. And so I started looking into things, and I got in the t-shirt craze on Teespring probably 10 years ago now. And we ended up selling about 50,000 shirts a month in a small group that I created, and did really well. Sold my brick and mortar businesses and went full time into the online world. And as that model started evolving, it went into obviously online e-commerce and selling all kinds of things besides t-shirts. And so I partnered with Tanner, and we had a kitchen store. And what I realized is I was really good at driving traffic. And through the period of getting frustrated with Facebook's ups and downs, I just thought one day, I'm like, man, if I could make the store work better, maybe I could convert more of the traffic. And so I really dug into Google Analytics and the Tag Manager. And really for about 6 months, I was working 7 days a week, about 10, 12 hours a day, just going through data and figuring that out. And every time that I would find data that I could translate into changing something on the store that made the traffic work better, the more money we made. And so over time, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't just like lightning struck once. So I went to my friend, Drew Canoli from Organifi, said, hey man, I think I can fix your store and make it work really good, because they were driving traffic to funnels and their store was kind of an afterthought. And so we started optimizing the store, and we took we took their run rate from, I think they're at 2.75 million a year to like 9.7 in about 90 days. So it's just a crazy good success. And then started, I knew a lot of people from the t-shirt world who had switched over to e-commerce stores and we're doing drop shipping and stuff like that, selling products. And we just started working on the stores and making them convert better. And really that's where our model evolved. And that's all we do now. We have about 56, 57 people on our staff. And I love to come to work every day and do this stuff.
Isn't it such a gift, just as a
Yeah.
side tangent, to really love what you do?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and even is in the middle of, I mean, right now, I'm not sure when people will hear this, but, we're in the middle of the coronavirus, the pandemic, and people are literally scared and a lot of people are out of work and our industry has just started booming. So what's happened is it's hard to believe, but it was less than 10% of people shopped online before the pandemic. So about 10% of sales were done online. The rest is still done in brick and mortar. Well, the entire globe had to shut down. And we thought, we would get a bunch of people in there, but it would go back to normal and they wouldn't stay, or, it would be a good influx. But now people have been forced for so long to stay home or to use online shopping rather than the big box stores and all the rest of that, it's become the way of life. And I really don't think it's going back. And now it's even better than ever. Like Walmart, Target, and all them have said they're not going to have a Black Friday this year. So what are all those people going to do? They're all going to go online and do all their shopping this year. So there's never been, in my opinion, a perfect storm like this for e-commerce. And we're super excited to be part of it.
We are too. And
yeah.
Everybody who's listening to this, you are all in the e-commerce world, and you may not have found the success that you want yet, but this is the time to give it everything you've got, because we're at such an inflection point in history. The textbooks will talk about this time. So be part of that narrative. Be part of it.
Yeah, I always tell people there's no such thing as failure. It's just feedback. So if you're on that journey and you're struggling, it doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that what you're trying is not working. Use that as feedback to adjust. Like all of us have had to do it. Like it's not like every product that we offer or every ad that we run makes tons of money. Now, we have enough over this accumulated time that we manage about a little over 25 million a month in sales right now. And I know in the fourth quarter, that would be double what it is. That's always what happens. So that's our big time of year, but it doesn't start that way. It's just 1 and then 2 and then 3 and it starts snowballing. So whatever, you only fail is if you give up. So if you stop trying.
That's such a good point. So now we know a little bit more about your background and where you came from and how you went from using your computer for blueprints to now driving dozens of billions of dollars in sales every month. That's awesome. And it's so inspiring. So let's dive into the fundamentals here. Let's dive into the content. Let's understand these philosophies that you've built and honed and crafted over the years. Sure.
So one term that we use is revenue optimization, and everybody else calls it conversion rate optimization. But for me, I kind of felt like that was misleading, because we can make your conversion rate better, just lower the price of your product or deeply discount. The problem is you'll sell more, but you'll do more work for less money. And so for us, our goal was more holistic, to look at the entire store and see what we can do to make that customer journey as easy as possible, so that you actually generate more revenue that you get to keep. Because who cares if you do $1 million a month, but at the end of the month you make 10 grand? The whole goal is to keep as much of that as possible. And the way to do that is to maximize the traffic that you get coming to the store. My business partner, Tanner, he says all the time, traffic's not your problem. The average e-commerce store converts 2% or less. So that means for every 100 visitors that you get to your store, only 2 of them are buying. What's happening to that other 98? And I just thought like, man, so many people, they go, okay, I'm converting at 2%. I'm going to go buy another 100 visitors and make 2 more sales. But I was like, wow, I had 98 people already on my store. What made them not buy? It would be much easier to get 2 of those 98 people than it would to buy another 100 visitors. And so we started trying to reverse the psychology, and instead of going for more traffic, we know we all have lots of traffic when we buy it. What's going to make more of them buy from us or have such a good experience that they're going to tell their friends and have a repeat customer rate?
That makes a lot of sense, to not focus on the 1 or 2%, to
Yep.
focus on the 98, 99% that's not
Yep.
being really tapped into.
Yeah. And then the second thing that I did, again, I'm going to use Tanner a lot because he's my business partner, but he made a lot of money before him and I partnered in sales funnels. And so very direct response oriented, ran lots of funnels, did really well. When we got to the store doesn't work like, or didn't work like a sales funnel, several years ago. And so what we did is I started reverse engineering, going, man, how do we make a store work like a funnel? Because when Shopify first came out, they didn't really have a lot of extra tools. People were building the apps for them and doing things like that, but nothing that really helped with conversion. And so I just started reverse engineering it and going, okay, our homepage is the top of the funnel. And so what is the purpose of the top of the funnel? One, it's to build trust and then give them easy navigation to go find what they're looking for. So each page in your store has a very specific use in order to make it so that they go from one step to the next, to the next, to the next. And so a couple of different fundamental strategies is each page should have one majority action, the one key action that you want them to take. And so on your homepage, it's not meant to sell. It's not like, hey, quick buy, or all the little things that they have, or buy now or add to cart. That's like asking for a kiss before you got the lady's name. They need to see the information about their product. Unless they're a repeat buyer, they're never going to buy something without knowing what they're buying, how long it's going to take to get there, and a bunch of that other stuff. So you want to give them the right information at the right time. And so on your homepage, it's like, here, this is what we sell. If I'm looking for hair curlers, I want to know that I landed on the right site and it looks professional. And then they give me easy navigation to, I don't really know a lot about hair curlers, but whatever, we're going to go to. Yeah. So you just want to make sure that that's what that page is for. And if you go to our friend's site, Organifi, like I still use a product. It's an amazing product. But it's very simple. They have like a morning, a lunch, and an evening. And so it's very, very easy to go. You'll go to whichever one that you want, and then you get your product description. And we had that page, was actually picked out by, I'm going to forget the name of the article now, but they did like 300 pages in e-commerce, and they actually rated that as a #1 homepage that they saw. So you just have to remember that it's supposed to be very clean, clear, and give them easy navigation, because in the funnel steps, every time that someone moves to the next page, it's a micro commitment. And so they're more invested in the process. It means that you've moved them farther into the funnel, and then you can start doing your next work. The next one is your category page. And your category page has only one purpose. It's a filter. So if, say for example, let's use a different example. We'll just use Organifi for a minute. Say you want to see their green juice. So you click on that, you'll go to a category page, and you can buy it in the 1 can, you can buy it in like Go packs, different options, like you can buy 3 jars or 2 jars or whatever. And then when you pick that's basically a filter, you go to that filter page, and then you go to the product page, and it'll give you the description. So on the product page, once you get there, one, you want to give them your ingredients or what the product's made from. Another thing that matters a lot in making your store convert is high quality images. And you have to be careful that you don't have like high res images, because the internet will only broadcast a certain amount of pixels anyways. So it'll create like load times and things like that. So you want to make sure that Your images are optimized for the web. And one really good way to do that, and it's a free service, is tinypng.com, tinypng.com. So you just go in there, you can put a photo through it, and it'll give you back a web, optimized photo, so that your page load is fast. And then ship times. People want to know, like, we've been conditioned by Amazon now. We get stuff like really fast. And most people are selling stuff through e-commerce. A lot of it's impulse buy. So people want to know, is it going to take a week? Is it going to take 2 days, take 3 days? Just be very transparent. And a lot of times if you do that, make it very easy to find that, people aren't going to go, oh, I'm not going to buy it because it's going to take me a week. But if they don't have to go search for that, they're not irritated by the time they find it. There's a lot more likely that they're going to convert and then go to the next step, which would be your cart. And a lot of things that we see, like another thing that I want everybody to remember is that a theme is built by a developer. It's not built by a guy that's like trying to make a store convert really well. So in a theme, they're building this to work in 30 different environments, every different kind of product. It's basically an online store catalog is what they built, not an optimized process where the buyer can land here and go to the checkout. So the more stuff that you try to make fancy and sliding images and all the pop-ups and like note sections and all this stuff, it literally does. It actually creates what's called cognitive load. And so people will get tired going through your site. That makes it not trustworthy. It makes it frustrating. It makes the message not clear. And so people will exit. Every time that you give them something else to go through that's not appropriate to them, you're forcing them to go through a journey that's for 100 people when you could really make it for, your main buyers. And so we say that, like, on the cart page, like, all the navigation should be gone. It should be really clear, like, what payment methods you accept, and that, you want them to click that next button. So, proceed to checkout. Another thing that I explain to people is that, I talk about this, I don't know if I'm going too fast or not. Another thing that I explain to people is you want them to know where, when they click on something, where they're going to go. So like accessories, people don't really know what the accessories are. So you should say what they are or what they're going to get. Shop all, like, people don't, that button doesn't get clicked very much. Like, so if you look at one of the sites that we work on, we have about 70 tags in our tag manager. We know if they watch a video, if they click the main navigation, if they open the menu, if they watch a, anything that they do on the page, we're tracking that. And all the areas that are not clear or that are very vague or general, they barely get clicked at all. People want to know, okay, when I click this button or when I click this heading, where am I going to go? And so when they know that, it's not a surprise, and they'll tend to go through your store, which with a lot more clarity. Another thing that I will say that we know for a fact through millions and millions of dollars a month is that your search bar is the #1 revenue generator on your store. Most of them have a little magnifying glass that people can't find. If you go to YouTube, go to Amazon, go to any of these big sites anymore, and you'll notice that the search bar is all the way across the top. And so when you do that on your store, that traffic is worth about 4 times the average visitor, and it converts about twice as much. So if you do the math on that, like, you get your search bar very prominent, and when people search, they're way more valuable to you. And we used to, this is a couple of years ago, but we used to teach people, well, if you have less than 4 products, you don't really need a search bar. But what we realized is people don't just use that search bar to type in products. They actually type in their problems that they're looking to get solved. So when you have that search bar there and they come to your site and they type in what they're looking, or, what problem they're trying to get solved, if you use, there's several really good search apps out there, you can program them and they get smarter and smarter with learning with keywords, that a product will come up that's appropriate for the search, and you have a much higher conversion rate, and about, like I said, about 4 times the value per visit, the people that use your search.
And if they're searching for something that you don't have and enough people search for it, that
Yeah.
might clue you in. Hey, maybe I should offer this product.
Hi there, Ecom Masters. Mike Weiss here again with a friendly reminder that you've unlocked access to our exclusive podcast-only training on how to create your own supplement, CBD, pet, or skincare brand in just minutes, where we're going to break down from A to Z exactly how to put your own design on top-selling products and start selling in just minutes. It's incredible. Now, the principles that you're going to learn are exactly the same principles that we've used with our customers who did over $2 billion. That's right, with a B, $2 billion in sales last year alone. You cannot afford not to take me up on this free training. So to get immediate 100% complimentary access, all you got to do is go to dropify.com/podcast-special, or you can just click the link below in the show notes. I will see you soon.
Yeah, the other thing we do is we tell people that the language that they use to describe or the things that they're looking for, you might actually even have the product, but it's called something different. You can put that search title or the search stuff in the title of your product, or you can use the language that they're typing in your search bar in your product description. They'll be like, oh my God, this is exactly what I was looking for, or this will solve my problem. So there's a million ways to use that search. So now we say it doesn't matter if you have one product or you have 200 products, make sure that your search bar is prominent and use that information because it's really, really valuable.
So it seems like the way to really increase revenue is to reduce friction, to make things more clear, more easier, more direct, more focused, and to guide our visitors through a journey to solve their problem.
100%. When we partner with the store and go in there and do all their data and analytics, typically the first 2 or 3 months, like all we're doing is removing noise. We get the biggest wins by what happens is people go, oh, well, somebody in customer service wrote in about this issue. So then they slap on that notification on their website. Then someone else wrote in about this. And so they slap that notification. And before you know it, like you're forcing every single person that comes to your site to go through all that noise to get to what they want. When really most of those people, unless it was an error, those you would want to fix right away. But like there's always outliers. And so if you try to solve every single outlier on your store, what ends up happening is you make it so messy that it just doesn't work. It gets bloated. And we did that. Like I'm not saying this blaming other people. That's what we did with our store in the beginning. Like, oh, well, we'll fix that problem. Oh, well, we'll fix that problem. And then what I didn't realize is because you're always going to your site, it loads quick. But for a new user who doesn't have it cached, it loaded quick for me, but all of a sudden someone did a timing on my site. It was like 13 seconds. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's crazy. I had added all these apps and did a whole bunch of stuff. And so now we realize that really being very minimalistic will actually sell the most stuff.
And you know what probably also is a factor is when it's more minimalistic, which is almost oxymoronic in and of itself, but when there's a greater emphasis on minimalism, there's less to dissuade the customer because
Distract them. It's less to distract them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, so again, like just as a real quick summary, and then we can go through some of the other features that we talk about. But essentially, what's really important for you is not more traffic. It's to maximize the traffic that you already have. And the way to do that is to be very, very clear in what your value is, and then be trustworthy. Like the old timers and the little pop-up saying so-and-so just bought and all this other stuff. Like people, that's kind of run its course. It's burned people out because a lot of people have bought from those sites, never got their product. So the goal is for you to not sit there and hit them with every single thing. Like the only pop-up that we would ever use is exit intent. And the reason for that is, yes, they've decided that they're going to leave. give them a reason to stay. And if they just choose not to, then don't. But like typically out of, we convert about 25, we get about 25% to opt into an exit intent. And then about 25% of those people end up buying. So about, you know, if you think about it, I think it would work out to be 25, it would be 13, 14 people out of 100 that leave your site will come back and buy when you use exit intent. So creating all these big lists that are, then you have to manage, and you, most of the time you end up ruining your sender score because those people don't want to hear from you over and over and over again. Just be very specific about what you're doing. Care about your customer, give them a really good experience, a reason to buy. In fact, a good example is I bought something about a month ago. They shipped it to me. Somehow USPS like flipped the address and shipped it to someone, you know, about 3-4 miles down the road. I didn't get the product. I wrote in and said, hey, you guys said it was delivered. I didn't receive it. They said, oh, we'll give it a couple of days. And what ended up happening, I went down to that house where I saw where it was delivered. They said, no, they didn't have it. So here and there, I wrote back in and told them. They go, no problem, we're going to ship you a new one. So they shipped it to me. I went on the site before I even got the second shipment and spent like $730 more with them. I was like, wow, that's crazy that they would have customer service. I ended up buying 7 times what I bought the first product. So just remember that people care about how you treat them, and the experience is good. And when you show that you're going to be there and take care of them, they're going to spend money with you, because it's just not that common nowadays.
I think it's really easy when we're looking at the data and the numbers and the percentages to forget that we are working with real people on the other side of the screen. And putting some thought into that goes a long way.
Yeah, because most people don't. A lot of people in e-commerce, they really go, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to put my phone number on. I don't want to put a phone number. I'll just put an email. But the people that go the extra mile and do that and make people, we tell people to put a phone number on the site. Most people will never call it. But if you see a phone number on the site, you go, okay, if I do have a problem, I'm going to be able to get a hold of them. So it builds trust. Like sites with phone numbers convert much better than sites that just have an email and no phone number. So even if it just goes to Google Voice, or you can buy the phone numbers that automatically go to an email, and it'll go in there and you can respond that way. There's a really good app called Gorgias that helps a ton with customer service. That will automate a whole bunch of things. So just treat people the way that you would like to be treated, and you'll watch your conversions go up from that alone.
That's incredible. And I had no idea just having the phone number increases conversions, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And so we always tell them to put it on the checkout page. So if you have got questions, put a phone number in or an email, and then what form of payment, like PayPal accepted, on the payment page or whatever. So doing that in your header where most people have a logo, by having that right there, it nudges people over the line. And so a few little hacks like that, and you end up like converting that extra 1 or 2 people out of 100, because they go, oh, well, I can get a hold of these people if something's wrong, those kind of things matter.
That's so powerful. So let's talk a little bit about, once we focus, well, and maybe the question's moot. Maybe we do solely want to focus on revenue optimization, but is there a point when we say, okay, we've gotten it to where it's good enough, now we need to move on to the next thing, or how does that work?
It's a very iterative process. And the other thing is e-commerce is always evolving. And so I always tell people to view your website as your conversation with your customer. So if you want them to buy from you, you need to keep talking to them. So if you go, oh, my site's optimized, and then you quit working on it, what you'll find is over time, it'll just start deteriorating, get less and less and less. So as e-commerce evolves, you want to constantly be reading and stay up to date and use different things. Again, the other thing is people get banner blindness. So if what is relevant now is not going to be relevant in 3, 4, 5 months. There's going to be some new way that people, that's prototypical, which is what the majority of websites use. And if you're not keeping pace with that, you'll watch your sales decline. The other thing is over time, like it's code. So there's developer debt in your site. So if you're not going through your site and getting it cleaned up, every few months or whatever, you'll notice that your site will start to deteriorate, have more bugs. It won't show good on different browsers, just things like that. So there's really not a point for us. We don't think there's ever a point. And then the other thing is, once you do get it converting really good, you get to buy a lot more traffic because it's way more profitable for you, and you can go from the build phase to the scale and or growing. You're growing your business at that point, so you can buy more traffic, start taking more market share because your site works better. Facebook will give you cheaper traffic, it converts higher, so you're making more money, and that turns into a snowball too. And so what we do is, once we're in that phase, we go through the analytics and the data and look at page speed, different apps that we can remove that are like slowing it down, stuff like that. So it's a really a never-ending process. It just keeps on moving, and e-commerce is evolving like crazy.
So we've talked about it a little bit, and we've kind of touched on different concepts within it, but let's really talk about the philosophy of build, grow, scale. And let's just dive into it and work our way through it, because I do think it's a very powerful philosophy that you've built. And now that we have some context into more strategies and our approach of being revenue optimization focused, now we
Yep.
have more context to dive into the
Sure.
into the model.
Yeah, so I would say our concept, the build part, is one, you can go to our blog, and why start a store with bad principles? So if you go to our blog, it's at buildgrowscale.com/blog. There's
And
tons and tons of
that'll
articles.
be in the description and the show notes as well.
Okay, great. And so when they go there, like set it up from the very beginning with some of these principles in mind. It gives you the best chance and the least amount of iteration that you're going to have to do to kind of tweak and figure it out. And so you can get like a set of best practices or principles from there. When you set up your store, you can turn off a lot of the stuff that we'll talk about in there. You can do some of those little checkout hacks. We have a six different articles all about the checkout and stuff like that, because that's the most important page in your store. That's where the transaction happens. Like all the rest of your store can work perfect, but if your checkout's broke or isn't optimized, you just don't get as much money because not as many sales happen. And so go there, figure that out. That's the build phase that we talk about. And so do that. Then the next step would be grow, which is know your data, know your analytics, figure out Google Analytics. Google Analytics is just a hub for information. So if it's not set up correctly, garbage in, garbage out, you're going to be making decisions off of data that's really not very accurate. And you can't just use Shopify's dashboard because they don't know if it's bot traffic. They don't filter out your visits. You're in there off and on all day long, checking your storage and all this other stuff. Like you're skewing your numbers. In Google Analytics, you can actually cut your IPs out of there, and so you and get rid of bot traffic, a bunch of other stuff. You have real data that you can make decisions from. Because if you're making decisions from bad data, you're going to make bad decisions. So that's the part of the grow, is you have to learn to use your data and then actually understand it. And then the scale part is, once you're using data and your store is optimized, you can scale it because you can buy a lot more traffic than everybody else who's like, struggling with CPMs or doesn't know how to show Facebook that people are moving from page to page to page. So that's all that they know for like time on page and moving to the next page. To them, that's a conversion. That means it was a good user experience. The person didn't leave, they actually went to the next page. So when you get that build part working and the grow, then you can scale. And that's really where the real money is made. And we've done it so many times now. It's a very repeatable process. We have people come to us that are doing a couple $100,000 a month. They have a good product. They know how to buy traffic. We fix their store and they go from 200,000-300,000 a month to $1 million a month, because now when you fix that, all of a sudden they're way more profitable. They can buy more traffic, and it just ticks all the boxes to really make it work.
That is such a good way to go about it, because you're almost taking the guesswork out of it completely and
Yeah.
just using data to understand what works the best, and then move forward and grow your traffic
Yeah.
and do
So
better with traffic, and then scale it up.
yeah, we have people come to us all the time. Well, this is what our product is. And I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. They go, what do you mean? And I said, I'm the only thing that I care about is you have a good quality product, because otherwise you're only going to get one sale. If you're selling crappy products, they're going to buy it. They're never coming back, and they're going to tell people about it. And then you're going to struggle. So if you have a good quality product, take care of the customer, they'll come back for more. They'll tell more people about it. I forgot where I was going to go with that.
Well, then you're tapping
uh,
into word of mouth as well,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that just
So
more fire onto the flame.
yeah, exactly. So, oh, I was saying that I'm product agnostic. I really don't care as long as you have those things, because the reason why we can win over and over and over is repeatable, is because we use data to do it. It's not gut feel or what we think is happening. We actually use the data from the way that people are interacting with the store to make it better and better and better. It's very calculated. And so we don't have to guess. We can go, hey, you're getting 80 people to this page and only 3 of them are clicking forward. But over here, you have 80 people visiting this page and 30 of them are going forward. So let's look on this page and see what's working really well. And then let's take those principles and apply them to this page too. And then now you have 2 pages that have 30 people moving forward. And so you just do that over and over and over. And what you'll see over time, we have stores that have converted through the entire fourth quarter over 10%. That's not all year round. I mean, it's during the main time, which is super important. But the rest of the time of the year, like, we feel like if our stores aren't converting around 4%, something's broken. So more than double the average. And that's just by using data, and it's repeatable over and over and over.
That is so powerful. Well, Matthew, I want to be very respectful of your time. Clearly, you're a very busy man, and you have a lot of great work that you're doing. But I'm tremendously appreciative of everything that
Yeah.
you've shared. I feel like you've really opened up the marketing kimono for for us to take a peek into. And seriously, I'm very grateful for the time and the knowledge that you've shared. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime. Hopefully this has been helpful to your audience too. And like I said, I really appreciated it.
Absolutely. So have I, and I'm absolutely positive that should you, ladies and gentlemen listening, take these strategies and implement them into your business, and you don't have to do it all at once. Just start with one little thing a day, make one little improvement, run one little test, just get 1% better every single day, but use this framework and focus on revenue optimization, use the build, grow, scale model. Oh, wow. There
Guys,
you go.
and actually that's what my tattoo says is Kaizen, 1% improvement. So like, I believe that philosophy, it really is. E-commerce is very complicated and it takes a lot of work. If it was super easy, everyone would be doing it and making tons of money from it. It really is that principle of just getting 1% better every day. And you don't have to do it all at once. Just chunk it down. And one thing that I will say, because a lot of people go, oh, that they care about their homepage, but they're driving traffic to the product page and the product page is not converting. What really you should do is reverse your mentality. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge with execution is actually what's power. So go from the back of your store and fix your checkout first, then your cart, then your product page, then your category page, then your home page. And the reason for that is, if you're getting 10 people to your checkout and only one of them's converting, if you fix that to 2 out of those 10, you've doubled your business just off of that one page. If you make your homepage work better, but your checkout is still broke, all this work that you've done still doesn't benefit you until you'd have to get 10 more people there to get one more sale at the current numbers, instead of just work on that page first, you'll make more money. And then every single thing that you do on the store will generate revenue instead of just make you feel good.
Mic drop right there. That's awesome. Matthew, I really can't thank you enough. Thank you. And for everybody who's watching and listening, I want to thank y'all. Matthew, where should people go to learn a little bit more and dive into all this information? I know we're just really scratching the surface here. There's so much. Where can people go to get more?
Yeah, so if we have, it's pretty easy if they go to buildgrowscale.com. We have a blog, we have a podcast, we have a YouTube channel. But if you go to that URL, Tanner has the book E-Commerce Evolved, which literally I think it's the #1 selling e-commerce book on the planet. And now we just revised it. The new version should be out in the next 30 to 40 days. That's all store-based. His original one had a lot to do with funnels. It was written, years ago. Now it's all based around Shopify sites or just e-commerce sites in general. So go there. There's plenty of ways to find us. We have so much free content for people that are getting started or even that are like white labeling things. All of these principles will work on your store to make you sell more with the same traffic that you're already getting.
Incredible. Those links are going to be on video, the description below, and on podcast in the show notes. So make sure that you take advantage of all of this good content. You have before you a wizard of the marketing world who is telling you exactly what to do and then giving you even more good information and a book recommendation. Books may cost $20, $30, but one principle from that book could equate to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars for you. Think about the ROI on that. Hard to build an ad that generates that high of an ROI. So go dig into it, learn everything that you can from these guys. They know what they're doing. And if you, once again, want to get that stuff, go to the link in the description and or the show notes and change your world. Matthew, thank you so much. You rock. You listening, I love you. Thank you. And I will see you on the next episode. Take care now.
All right. See ya.
Hello again, Ecom Masters. Mike Weiss here again with a big thank you for sticking with us to the end of this episode. I know how valuable your time is, and I want to congratulate you for setting yourself apart from the pack by investing your attention into this podcast. Now, make sure to maximize this time by taking notes while it's still fresh, listening to the episode multiple times if you need to, and implementing what you have learned right away into your own business. Now, if you're looking for a little bit more training and want to learn the step-by-step methodology that you need to build the e-com business of your dreams, I want you to join me for an exclusive invite-only training that I'm only giving specifically for podcast listeners. Now, in it, we're going to share the secrets of what we've used to scale Dropified into the 2019 5,000 number 55 fastest growing company in America. You will not find this information anywhere else, guaranteed. To get immediate 100% free access, all you got to do is go to Dropified.com/podcast-special, or just click the link below and in the show notes, and I will see you on the other side.